Hi, third grade. We're going to learn about one of our most famous artists, and that's Leonardo da Vinci. Here's a picture of Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa was painted about 1503 to 1506. Some people think that Leonardo da Vinci never finished it. It is his most famous artwork, and it is probably one of the most famous paintings in the world. In fact, when you go see it in Paris, it's got a guard in front, and it's in a bulletproof case, and you have to stand behind it. So it's really amazing to go see this artwork and see how well it is protected. There's lots of things that make it very famous. First of all, it's very realistic looking, and that's because Leonardo da Vinci worked on trying to make people look realistic. The way he did this was by studying the body. We call that anatomy. That's where you learn all the things that go on underneath the face, the muscles, the veins, the bones, so that when you paint the face, you have a good idea about what it's supposed to really look like. Let's do a comparison to what people were painting like before Leonardo, so you can see how much better he has progressed with realism, a realistic looking picture. This picture is by the artist Giotto. And this was painted about 1320. Now, this was a big deal when it came out. Giotto was considered the person who came up with the more realistic person at that time. But if you look very closely, it looks very wooden. It doesn't look very realistic. The face is pretty flat. The Jesus here looks very cardboard cut out. And so you can see that although Giotto is getting there, he's not quite there yet. He really is a good painter, but really doesn't quite understand how all the facial muscles and everything comes together like Leonardo da Vinci does. So Leonardo now has a more realistic looking portrait. He's got the face, the nose, the eyes, the mouth in proportion to each other. He also notices how the facial muscles work. So it's kind of interesting to see this little smile. It's almost as if the longer you look at her, the more she seems to be smiling and the less she seems to be just straight-faced. The eyes are very interesting. I don't think you can tell it from this picture, but definitely when you see it in person, the great thing about the eyes is no matter where you stand, if you're standing over here, she looks like she's looking at you. You're standing here, it looks like she's looking at you. This isn't so much of a trick of optics, I think. It's just the fact that he has the face done so well. It just has to do with how the light reflects off the painting. She is sitting posed, what we call a three-quarter view, or what we call sort of the school picture view. And you can see she's from the waist up. Not too much emphasis on the chair that she's sitting on or sitting down with her arms folded here. Then to give it more depth, there's also a landscape in the background, and the landscape goes back. That has to do with perspective, and we were talking about perspective, and you can see that it looks like a landscape with some mountains and water that goes in the back. And that helps to make the figure look more real or three-dimensional. So we're going to be doing a project today which has to do with the Mona Lisa face and hands, and this is one of the reasons why the Mona Lisa is so famous. Remember, she looks very realistic, which is something very hard to paint, and it certainly is something that artists have been working on for a very, very long time. And Leonardo da Vinci was the person who really understood how the body worked and then could paint it. Remember, this is in the days before we have photography. So now today's artists, if they want to paint something realistic, they have the benefit of taking a picture of their subject and then going ahead and using the picture for reference. Back in Leonardo's day, you didn't have that, and it made it much harder to get all the parts right. So thanks very much. Enjoy your lesson and have fun.